Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to AutoTalksUS. We have got a lot to cover this episode. This is going to be a hot one. This is going to be a big one, and it's going to be an important one. So stay tuned. We've got the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix. We've got the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Huge stuff there all around. And then we've got Cars and Coffee from this past weekend just to kind of close things out. Big episode, guys. Happy to be here. Happy to be talking again. It's just really exciting stuff going on. So stay tuned and let's get into it. So, very first thing, the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix. Pretty decent race, actually. George Russell started on pole position. He won the race. That's how it's supposed to go in racing. That's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We do have exciting races here and there where you have somebody from the back kind of winning the race because of a safety car reshuffling. But now they let lapped cars through, and races usually figure themselves out these days. But this one was good. I think the big winners of this race, definitely George Russell. Definitely Oscar Piastri. But man, Lando Norris, guys. If you didn't watch the race, you need to go back. At the very end of the race, literally at the very end of the race, you have Lando Norris he was going for a move on Oscar Piastri. Oscar's job was to defend the inside, so he did. And unfortunately, Lando Norris ran into the back of him. This was our first sort of McLaren on McLaren incident, so to speak. But Lando honestly took it on the chin. He apologized to Oscar right away in the media pen, and they moved on. It was a shitty accident, and here's the thing about it, guys. When something like this happens, these are the two championship leaders at the moment, and the points aren't that wide. So the margin for error is virtually non-existent because the closer we get to the middle of the season, that's when it becomes harder and harder to catch up to the front based on the points. They accumulate just in that fashion. So with Lando Norris right now being so close to Piastri in the points for the World Championship, he can't afford to go from second, third, down to nothingness. He literally just tossed away, I think, 16 points, 18 points, something like that, maybe even more. F1 points system, let's see. It's, wow. So the winner earns 25, second place earns 18, and then 15, and so on. So he lost anywhere from 18 to 15 points yesterday. Not good news. That sucks. Some of the key takeaways here are going to be, well, it's hard. You know what, actually, who am I to sit here and talk about takeaways? I'm not in their shoes. The thing that I would say is, as a Formula One driver, your job's to take risks, albeit, granted, calculated risks, but risks nonetheless. And so I think it's actually pretty nice that Lando did go for it. It goes to show that he cares about winning this championship. You never want to see two McLarens making contact or any teammates making contact, but what we saw today was a miscalculation of a well-off attempt. What he was trying to do in spirit was actually, there was merit to it. A Formula One driver will look either to the left side or the right side, as any race car driver would, to the left or to the right to make an overtake before a corner. The driver in front, his job is to defend that position by also making a counter move. Either it's got to be one move, you can't, weave back and forth, blocking all the way up until the corner, but he is in the position to make one defensive move and then hold that position into the apex. So what Lando Norris effectively was wanting to do was to wait Oscar out. Oscar decided to go defend the inside, which is that point that Lando made contact, because Lando did not have time to then avoid him by going back to the other side. That's what you're supposed to do to avoid contact, of course, when you're entering a corner as a race car driver. You don't just want to plow into the back of somebody because you both decided to be on the inside. If the guy in front is defending and he moves to the inside, you have to move to the outside. That's called a switchback, and you can attempt an overtake that way as well. You do the switchback, he goes to the inside, you go back to the outside, and then you try to carry momentum so that you can pass him around the outside of the corner. However, the next corner immediately after that in Canada, it's a left-right. So Lando did not want to be on the outside because that means that he has to take an extremely awkward racing line, basically going from the outside into a left turn where he's then going to be pinched because the next turn is a very hard right. It's literally like basically a hairpin right turn if you're reopening the steering in that way. But you've got Oscar Piastri directly to the left of you as well, so that would have sucked very bad, and he knew that. That's not the way you overtake on that set of corners at turn 1 and turn 2. So that's why he wanted to move to the inside, to the left. And they unfortunately made contact. He apologized to the team. He apologized to Oscar, to the team principal, Zach, everybody. So for all intents and purposes, and I apologize for my watch alarm going off, but it's just important to remember what these guys are doing lap over lap. They're calculating. They're fighting off 4, 5, 6 G's of force against their body at some stages. They're the stresses of going through their bodies. I mean, they lose 5, 6, upwards of 7 to 10 pounds of weight every single race. Lewis Hamilton famously said that in Silverstone, or maybe not Silverstone, but Singapore, maybe one of the hot races, he loses 10 pounds of body weight just from sweating and burning off calories in the race car. Sure, let's say 10% of that is exaggeration. So really, he's losing 9 pounds. That is still tremendous. Now, this track probably isn't as hot, although the track surface temperature was 50 degrees centigrade, Celsius. So the track surface is hot because of how many cars are running on it at that speed, as well as the engines and just the tires. And I mean, they are generating so much heat around this track, and then you also have a fire protective suit. So there's really, really a lot going on here. And for Lando to make that mistake, as long as he doesn't make a habit of this stuff, it was a misjudgment. That's literally all it is just a misjudgment. He destroyed the front left suspension on the car, had to get pulled over, got out, and the rest of the race was finished under a safety car. So shout out to George Russell. I think that was his first win of the season. Kimi Antonelli came in third, which is spectacular. This kid, Toto knew what he was doing when he signed him. I think they've been watching him for several years. He's got that show on Netflix, of course. So hats off to Mercedes. This was their weekend. It was fantastic. It was a really, really impressive show of just force from the two Mercedes drivers. So that was really, really impressive. But big news, we're going to be moving on now to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Holy crap, guys, was that exciting. I didn't watch the whole 24 hours. I watched some of the beginning. Of course, the pit stops are always exciting. We got to see that the Aston Martin that we were talking about, the Valkyrie LM AMR. It was awesome. Didn't take any wins. I don't think anyone expected it to. We were more so just hoping that they would finish. Now, I don't actually remember how many of them they were running. Let's see. That was the really, really cool part for me, because the AMR, the one that was racing at Le Mans, let's see. Clutch save against the wall, 24 hour. Oh, okay, cool. So there's a couple cool saves. Now, did this thing race, or why am I not seeing much about it? I definitely remember seeing it on track, so that's strange that there's not a lot of articles about them. I wanted to see how they did. The hypercar class, car number 83 for Ferrari, they took it home. I think this is the third time they've won recently, so hats off to them. I'm just thrilled about it. Really, really, really cool. They actually have a nice set of drivers in that class, and the reason I say that is because one of the drivers that actually was racing on that team Robert Kubica. Now him, Yiffy, and Phil Hansen were the drivers of this number 83 car that actually won the race. They held off Porsche. Porsche was super, super, super close. But this is just so cool to see Robert Kubica winning at Le Mans. For those of you who don't know, Robert Kubica was a Formula One driver at one point in his life. He won the Canadian Grand Prix back in 2009, but he was one of those drivers where when he started out, you knew he was going to be he was up there with Michael, with Fernando Alonso, with Lewis. He had it going on. Unfortunately, his career never really made it anywhere in Formula One due to a rally accident. It was crazy. It was near fatal. His arm got completely destroyed, and you guys can do some research on this accident. It was a rally accident with a guardrail. And he actually went back to Formula One after that. Now, he was never at his original, should I say, quality driving when he came back, unfortunately, but he was still very, very impressive, and he was fast. And if you watch some of his highlights, like at Monaco, despite having a battle wound to his arm, so to speak, from that rally accident and everything else, he was still so fast. So for him to win at Le Mans, that is so cool. You win in Formula One, you win Le Mans. There's really nothing else you need to put on your resume at that point. You're pretty much solid for just about anything. Excuse me. In other big news, congratulations to the Mante Porsche team. These guys in blue, let me tell you something. These guys in blue deserved nothing but pure victory this weekend. Holy crap, was that awesome. Mante Racing guys, the reason that we bring up this team specifically is Brian Hardwick, as you guys know, he was a customer of ours a few years ago with a particular vehicle for his collection. But we were huge fans of his before that. His Porsche career, winning the Rolex 24, and then, briefly having a stint in the Mustang GT3. We, of course, are huge fans of the Mustang around here. And then going back into the Porsche and ultimately winning Le Mans. I remember we were talking a couple of weeks ago on a previous episode, or even maybe a couple of months ago, just saying, like, look, guys, there's a few teams that we really need to root for this year at Le Mans, and this is one of them, and they did it. So I want to thank all of you guys for cheering them on. I know that it had a lot to do with it. Let's just give another shout out to a few of the other drivers on the team. You got Ricardo Pera and then Richard Leitz. These guys, to be able to wheel and deal that car all the way to the victory is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So Porsche customer teams are doing it, man. They are doing it. Porsche has a lot of customer teams, and of course Mante Racing with First Form. With these three just absolute solid beast drivers. They set the gold standard now. They're walking away with a few really, really expensive timepieces and probably the best accolade in motorsport. Next to winning Monaco, this is probably the biggest spectacle in motorsport, and they won. So hats off to them in this GT3 class. The Porsche GT3R, guys, is one of the coolest race cars. I'm a sim racer. Here in my living room in the studio, we do have a sim rig, and so we're on that thing constantly, running this Porsche around tracks like Nürburgring and Le Mans and Silverstone and Barcelona, all these really, really crazy tracks. It's a freaking sweet car. So to race that thing in real life, and then on top of that, to win at a race like Le Mans, I mean, come on. That is the coolest thing one can do. So again, congratulations to those guys. What else? There was actually a lot going on. Let's see. There was some on-track incidents as well. Let me go back in my notes here. There was a small incident where a driver gets out of his car, starts punching on the window of this Ferrari I don't remember what that was all about. Again, this is a really long race, so I'm just covering some of the things that happened, specifically, I guess, highlighting the race. But yeah, I can't remember what happened. I remember looking at my phone during F1 and just seeing this video of of this driver just punching the window of this Ferrari. Yeah, it was really cool. There was the Porsche did ultimately give the Ferraris a run for their money. It kind of came down to the wire. There was a lot of tactical chess going on, but really climbing from last to fight for the win was really, really cool to see from Porsche. And it's that 963, guys. You remember last weekend we talked about the 963 RSP, which is Roger Penske's personal car. It's a one-off street legal version of this number 6 963 car that was racing this weekend. Super, super cool. Really cool nighttime stuff. The track cools down a little bit, so that obviously plays to a lot of team strength. I think that's where Porsche really started catching up to Ferrari. I remember watching, and during those nighttime stints, there was a lot of action. Let's see what else. Cadillac. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I think there's some reliability issues. Not a lot of people talked about them. We already mentioned the number 92 Porsche, driven by Ryan and his teammates. Such a cool, so cool. And then we got Europole. So in the LMP2 class, guys, last week we talked about our local hero here, Nick Bull. He's he and his family are pretty heavy into racing. He actually drives for Europole. Now this might have been their other car, or it might have been a different set of drivers. Nick was not behind the wheel of this particular car that won, but they did take it home in the LMP2 class. So hats off to them as well. It takes a team, it takes a village. It's everyone's involved equally. So I think it's a win is a win. So ultimately, some of the key takeaways here for me were the fact that pretty much everybody that I support ended up winning. I haven't seen a Le Mans this exciting in probably over a decade. Back when Alan McNish and Tom Christensen were racing in the Audis, and those were the days. The open cockpit prototypes. That was super, super exciting. And then from there, kind of died down a little bit. 2016 was crazy when the Ford won with the GTE class. That was nuts. 2 cars, 66 and 67. So that was really, really, really cool. But yeah, ultimately, that's kind of what Le Mans is all about. Privateer companies, privateer teams with big company backing, and some don't have company backing. Some are mostly amateur teams that are privately funded, with wealthy folks who are essentially passionate about motorsport. And in which case, you've got teams like Mante Racing with private capital that are Porsche customer teams racing against effectively manufacturers themselves. Really, really, really cool. Let's see what else. F1, we have more exciting racing coming this upcoming week. Actually, it's not a doubleheader. It's so tough to keep track of all these things because you have, May effectively was the start for me of this brain calamity thing, because you've got Emilia Romagna, then you have Monaco, then you have Spain. So actually 4 races in May, including Miami. But then after that, things start to ramp up significantly. So I think Austria is the next race, and it's actually not this weekend. We do have we've got a little bit of a break here. That's the Red Bull Ring. So again, big Max Verstappen type race. Let's see. I was on Prize Picks. I had a bonus that they gave me, so I decided to use that, have a little bit of fun on there, and let's see. And so, uh, yeah, and so we're going to be basically looking at another wager strategy for the Red Bull Ring. Max Verstappen loves this track. I don't think that that they're gonna what's it called? I don't think they're gonna botch it. I certainly don't think that Red Bull's strategy lately has been kind of weak. They've been doing some questionable stuff. Yesterday, actually, I think they had a pretty solid strategy, but in Spain it was terrible. And for the Red Bull Ring, I don't ever remember Red Bull having a bad experience there. I think they're going to get their stuff together. I think they're going to set it up pretty well, and I think they're going to have a decent race. Now, it is McLaren's championship to lose, so they're going to bring the heat too, guarantee it. This track's got a lot of elevation changes. Seems to be something that the McLarens like. I wouldn't say it's an easy track to pass on, but there are multiple opportunities. I think because there's only 5 or 6 corners on this entire track that are actually real corners, every single one of them is effectively an overtaking zone because it's a pretty wide track. There's a lot of space in these turns, so going up the hill into turn 3, or is it 1, 2? Yeah, going up the hill into turn 3, down the inside, you see either a lot of crashes or a lot of overtakes. Then down the hill into turn 4, 5, and then around the back towards the straightaway. So there's a lot of overtaking opportunities there. The race is on the 29th, so of course we're going to talk about it then. But other than that, as far as racing goes, those were pretty much the big ones this weekend. Yesterday we went to oh wait, no, not yesterday. It would have been Saturday. Yeah, so on Saturday we went to Cars and Coffee. They don't do this one a lot. It's at this Centurion place, I think it's what it's called. I'm not sure, but it's in a big parking garage of a high rise. Now I actually know this place because I did some consulting work across the street at the Windrose, which is a very famous luxury tower. So the car show was there. That was nuts. Let me just paint the picture here, guys. It's like Tokyo Drift, right? So I pulled in from the back. You go all the way up to the 2nd or 3rd level to park for pedestrian parking, and then I just start walking. The music starts to get louder, but I still don't see cars because you know how parking garages, it's almost like in the shape of an X where one row is going up, but the one coming down, they don't cross each other, so you don't actually see any of the cars. It's an invisible wall. So that's kind of how it was. It's like I hear the music, but I'm still not seeing the cars until I get to a certain point where the elevation change is visible, and that's when that particular row starts to become visible. It starts above my head, and then as I'm walking up, it gets lower and lower and lower, kind of like an escalator when you cross it. And it was so cool. I posted it on my story. It's just like an empty parking garage that just turns into a supercar filled, music filled, like just dreamscape. It was so funny how this whole place effectively opened up like this. And I'll be honest, I didn't walk all the way around to get onto that level. I actually just hopped over the metal wires that they have there. I had my camera in my hand. It was sketchy as shit because it's a drop in the middle. You have to step over the drop to get from your level to that level, and I'm just looking down like, but we're photographers. We go in the line of, into battle for the line of duty, and so yeah, that was super cool. I hopped over. All of a sudden, you got a Super Trofeo Stradale, Lamborghini SVJ, Urus, Viper, Tesla for some reason, GT3 RS. I mean, the line of cars right there in front of me was what I just described. But then outside of that, as I started walking around, I just started seeing absolutely epic stuff. Let me pull up my phone real quick. I took a bunch of pictures on my phone so we can actually talk about some of the stuff that we saw while we were there. Tons of McLarens, 765 LT, couple 720Ss, 600 LT, lots of LTs. I think LTs, either the dealerships give you on the, this is a good, hold on. Let me stop right there. when it comes to McLarens, and if you're a McLaren owner, please tap in and tell me if I'm wrong. But their lease programs are kind of they want people to get these special models. I see more LTs than I do standard models, and I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, did you get this from the dealer? He's like, yeah, this was a CPO car, or yeah, my sales guy called me and offered it. So what's the philosophy there? If these are the limited edition models, why is everyone only have those? Are they making more than they're saying? Is it just not? Does it not make sense to get a 650S when you can get a 760 or a 675 LT or a 600 LT? I think the 600 LT is probably the most common one that we're seeing. They're in that $210,000-ish price range, so it makes a little bit more sense than a Huracan, perhaps. But in any event, lots of McLarens, lots of Porsches. Saw a beautiful 930. Yeah, that's a 930. Beautiful 930. Jotech was there. They brought one of their, or maybe even two of their twin turbo Lamborghinis. One of them is this green hardtop, fat wheels. I think the thing makes like 2,000 horsepower or something like that. There was a raw welt 996, or maybe this is a 930 also. It was either a 930 or a 996. I don't remember. I'm going to have to find out later. 964 RWB. I hate getting these things wrong, because if the person that owns the car ever listens to the episode, he's like, no, you idiot, it's not a 930, that's a 964, or vice versa. So let me get this right for you guys, just so I can not look silly. It was a 993. So there was a 993 RWB there. Super, super, super cool, guys. Actually, guys, so we've shot a few raw welts in the past. This particular one, the raw RWB Minato, is that's his Instagram, RWB Technic, RWB Minato. Definitely check him out. That's the car that we saw there. So sick. We shot one in the past. We did a whole feature on it about 5 years ago. We've been huge fans of RWB for a long time. Now, I'm not sure how many of these things they've built up until this point, because the wait list used to be super, super long, but we still see them popping up all the time. He's now doing 997s. I've seen a couple of those. These things are awesome, guys. I mean, everyone has their opinion. I'm still, I love Porsches, guys, but I mean, people chop up classic Porsches to make fake GT2s all the time. Not just raw welt. There are other people who do a GT2 approach on classic Porsches just differently. So they're being cut up regardless. This is at least being done in a way that retains cultural equity. So it might not be equitable for a Porsche collector to buy a chopped up one by a Japanese guy, but it has a cult following regardless. So if you don't sell it to a hardcore Porsche owner, and this is the consultant in me talking, we simply just we switch the marketing approach into this is a JDM person's dream car. All JDM fans have the raw welt griff Porsche on their screensaver on the computer. So when you do this, you're simply converting the Porsche from a true purist, I guess, level type vehicle to a different consumer base. I'm here for it. They race these things too in Japan. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the RWB Porsches actually do get raced. So for those of you saying, "Oh, they're just built for show," well, no, not really. I mean, the guy who started it, Nakai-san, he races his own RWB in Japan. Stella Artois, that car's been on track before. So, they have turbo ones. The turbo RWBs that have been tracked. It's a what's it called? It's a purpose-built vehicle. Now, of course, what you do with suspension and wheels and brakes, that's your own business. That's his job. He requires that the car have suspension, the car be painted, car have wheels, car have brakes and moves and stuff like that. But ultimately, if you want to upgrade those for track purposes, you're welcome to after the kit's been fitted. The kit's not gonna get in the way of your performance modifications, because under the fender wells, sure, it's not pretty by any means, but you can always put down you could basically put down a sheet of aluminum inside that fender well to protect it, and then from there start building out your dream race spec car that has the ducts, the ducting, the diffusers, the big rotors, all of that. You can do that with the RWB. Nakai-san has a lot of customers who are racing their cars. With that, so let's move on. So we saw the RWB there. There was tons of GTRs. I counted 8. A lot of really, really cool classics, like a C3 Corvette, a first-gen Viper with a big wing on it. This Viper, guys, actually was not just one of my favorite cars from the event, but it at its core, it was just like a race prepped Viper, which is so damn cool. It was a Viper GTS sitting super, super low. I think it was like a 1997 maybe. It was actually even earlier than that. I think it was a 94. I don't know. The owner will have to tap in. Maybe a 93, but it was one of the older models, and it had a hardtop, big wing, splitters. Just it literally looked like a race car, guys. I took a bunch of pictures on my camera. Those will be on Instagram this week at some point. So that blew me away. I told the gentleman that I'm going to talk about his car on the show, so that's what we're doing now. Really, really crazy setup. It was super aggressive. It sounded amazing. It's got stripes on the hood. It's white. And I've never seen a Viper like that, so that was an absolute treat. But outside of that, that's pretty much all I got. It was a really exciting weekend. I was actually just dog sitting the entire weekend, so really sitting around on the couch a lot, watching racing. Gave me a chance to really take it all in. So much cool stuff. We do have a couple car shows coming up this weekend as well, so stay tuned for those. We'll probably be getting out there, taking pictures as we normally do, saying hi to everybody and all that kind of stuff, running into friends inevitably. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. It's been another episode of AutoTalksUS, brought to you by IAP Consulting Solutions. What we're actually doing now is focusing more on strategy, helping the consumers out there just make a smarter decision when it comes to the cars they buy. Yes, we still buy and sell. That's not a problem. But what we're really here for is just to look out for you guys to make sure that before you go and spend your hard-earned money on a vehicle, you just sit down with somebody and make sure that the strategy is there. Are we buying at the right time? Are we buying from the right people? Are we asking the right questions? Did we come prepared? Are we pre-qualified? If we're not pre-qualified, do we need to do that beforehand? Because the dealer's going to want to inevitably offer their own financing, which is, of course, we don't want to take advantage of. So sitting down, having the strategy, talking to the experts, that's what you need to do first before you buy anything expensive. I mean, $100 is one thing, $10,000 is another. Imagine a $100,000 mistake, what that could look like. So IAP Consulting Solutions, we're here for you to make sure that your money is spent best when it comes to the cars you drive. There's nothing out there like having somebody behind you whose entire job it is just to make sure that you guys save money. So with that being said, guys, hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next time.